multiplat is a disadvantage for a console, which isn't good for the consumer of that console. So my point
What
is,
is you talking about, man? The biggest games happen to be third party, and what I find ironic about this situation is the fact that the only disadvantage that's going on here is the fact that these companies ain't making enough money. That's the reason as to why they're expanding on their gaming division to compensate for the lack of sales that these consoles are giving them. But yet you want to sit there and say it's a disadvantage if the game go to PC and PlayStation. How so? Explain to people. I mean, that's like saying, well, GTA 6 is less successful considering that it's on less platforms than if it was on more. What are you talking about, bro? You ain't nothing but a fanboy. You need to be quiet, bro. You're like 50 years old and you still continue to spew this garbage.
day and date multiply, meaning you take a game, right? Right? And that game is going to be a multiply game across all devices. That is a disadvantage for the console itself. And therefore,
According to who? A fanboy that has his feelings attached to a piece of plastic, bro? You know, do people say that when they go pick up an Xbox Series X and they want to play Fortnite? I'm at a disadvantage because the people that play on PS5 have access to the same game. Oh, no. People are just playing video games. More than likely, people pick up a platform because their friends are playing on it. Not even about the exclusive games that people are playing on it, because we can clearly tell ain't nobody care about exclusives anymore. And that's the reason as to why you 50-year-old men can't get it through your thick heads.
Whoever owns that console is a disadvantage for them. Now, that's mainly attracting to the first party, right?
Yes, the first party that nobody wants to buy.
For that, let's go through some of the replies in my comment section, and you're gonna see no one really addresses the point I'm making. Again, my point is day-and-date multiplat is a disadvantage for a console.
No, it's
that
not.
Means for that specific
it's
console,
a disadvantage to the company because they are making less money. See, this is what you people don't understand. This is why Sony's putting their games on other platforms. This is why Microsoft's doing it, because the platforms that they're having are not compensating for the high budgets that they're putting into these games. I mean, if everybody that picked up a PS5 was buying Concord, we wouldn't have had the problem of the game flopping and failing, but instead you guys pick up games like Call of Duty and you're continuously still playing Fortnite. That is the problem of video gaming. You guys are single-handedly getting your behinds whooped by a bunch of free-to-plays. Games that you don't even have to pay for. People spend more money on a game that they didn't even have to purchase than a game like PlayStation trying to rip you off for $70.
Device, right? And therefore, whoever is the consumer. So, for example, a day-and-date multiplayer for Xbox is a disadvantage for Xbox. A day-and-date multiplayer for PlayStation consoles is a disadvantage.
Because if people still want to play the game on console, well, it's only available on the Xbox as of currently. So that doesn't disvalue the platform. See, it's funny with these fanboys. They want to act because if a game goes to another platform, it completely disvalues their experience. I mean, we have Rust, we have Ark Survival, and to be honest with you, they all play better on PC, right? Now, to some people, that might disvalue the console experience but for people that just want to play the game and have fun with it, what disvalue are we talking about here?
Advantage for PlayStation, a multi-plat for Switch is a disadvantage for Switch, and therefore each of the consumers of those specific devices is not an advantage for them in any way, right?
What?
But let's look at some of the replies just so you can see some people really just talk and don't really address what's being said.
Oh, no worries. I will make sure that I address all those concerns that you have, Puerto Rock.
First up, right here. Mando, he says, there's absolutely nothing about exclusive content in any medium that is good for consumers.
That is facts.
A disadvantage to a console does not equal not good for consumers. Gaming is the only medium where content is locked behind specific hardware. Phones, TVs, and everything else is not like this. Well, this is the first problem with Mando.
Uh-oh.
You pretty much don't understand gaming then, right?
Apparently, you don't understand gaming because Microsoft and Sony are out here putting all their games on multiple platforms. Apparently, you don't understand it, Puerto Rock. I mean, you still stuck on the 90s of the PlayStation 1.
Between gaming and another entertainment medium like movies and music is movies and music aren't made for a specific device. They're just made within the parameters of the movie, and then all the devices can just play that.
And
Right?
neither are these consoles in these games. That's why Microsoft and PlayStation 5 all use the same AMD architecture. Now, if you want, I see that he's bringing up the PS3 cell processor, and there's a reason as to why Sony did that, because at the time they believed they were the market leader. No different than the PS2. A lot of people don't know the PS2 was very hard to develop games for. A lot of third-party companies will tell you this, but unfortunately, they stuck by the platform in favor of the original Xbox just solely for the fact that it had a lot of hardware sales, and they figured, okay, there's more hardware sales here, which means that, we can make more money out of it. That's kind of the whole philosophy of the PS2. So essentially, Sony did it with the cell processor. So they want to lead the market so people can prioritize making games for that. Company says, no, we're going to focus on the Xbox 360 with the Power PC, which also is more accessible. And on top of that, the 360 was also very beloved. So at that point, Sony got forgotten with the cell processor. Sony purposely put the cell processor so they could have companies prioritize their platform to make games for them exclusively, kind of very similarly to what they did with the PS2. Microsoft already knew that. That's why they went with a more accessible approach, very similar to what Sony did with the PS1 in favor of the Sega Saturn and the N64, right? And Microsoft came out on top with that because they knew. See, you people don't, it's so funny that you want to sit there and talk about how Armando over here don't know nothing about gaming, but apparently you don't know nothing about gaming either.
A movie doesn't have to be like, what's the specs of an LG? And we have to, modify whatever. It doesn't work that way. Games can be made to the specifications of whatever.
Yeah, but that was such a long time ago, guys. Most games are just made with the lowest common denominator on PC, bro. I already knew when they started doing x86, AMD architecture, I already knew that the concept of a console was over, bro. I already knew it. And you know what's funny? AMD goes as far to the Nintendo GameCube with the ATI. Y'all remember that little tab of ATI? You guys know what that is, right? That is AMD hardware. So they've been doing this for quite some time, and you people didn't want to realize that. And the Wii utilizes the same exact hardware as the GameCube. Well, there you go. So AMD came in and took over the landscape of consoles. That's the reason as to why it was so easy for them to port games to the Wii, because all it was a downgraded version to what you got on the Xbox 360. That's all it is, Power PC. I mean, you people don't know nothing, bro.
For example, Black Myth Wukong. It is still not on Xbox because the developers are having issues with a particular device, the Xbox Series S. Right?
I really don't believe that. Considering after I seen Indiana Jones on the Series S, I really don't think that's the problem. Indiana Jones is far more impressive looking than Black Myth Wukong, and yet the game ran perfectly fine at 60 FPS, mind you. I mean, I think the Series S is just a bridge gap. Anybody that picked up the Series S, they're the ones laughing at us because you know why? Gaming is being held back. The Series S is doing its job. It's maintaining a lot of the quote-unquote next generation games at a budget price. Maybe if Microsoft and Sony was out here pushing some demanding games, then maybe the Series S would be obsolete, and maybe we could blame the Series S for what, Microsoft did with that console. But I think Microsoft already knew. That's why they dropped it the way they did, that gaming was not going to advance the way that you guys envisioned it to.
Don't go through with that. Movies don't be like, oh, snap, you're going to watch this movie on an iPhone? Yeah, we're not gonna be able to make a movie for devices that. No, that's not a thing. Right?
That's not true, because that's why Netflix and Hulu all have certain. I mean, if we're talking about service, if we're talking about services, they do provide exclusivity to certain. I wouldn't say platforms, but to certain services. Like Netflix might get access to this movie first, and then it might be on Hulu. Next minute, it might be on Disney Plus. So you can't necessarily say that they don't do their own exclusives too.
Right? Games have to cater to devices. Specs of devices have to be catered to. I mean, if you ever, or if any gamer ever said, cross-gen gaming needs to die, we need to move on from last-gen hardware, then you are admitting that games are being made to specs of hardware. Okay? Because if it was really open to what he was saying, right? If your point is gaming is the only medium where content's like behind, none of the content that they make today is unable to be seen from TVs 10 years ago. You can have a 2009 TV and you can still watch a show
See,
from.
the problem is with consoles is that now they have taken the phone strategy. That's the reason as to why gaming is the way it is. Mobile gaming, unfortunately, does have a lot of causes as to why these consoles are the way they are and why they're not significantly improving. And on top of that, I think these companies are fully aware that you guys are not willing enough to pay more than $500 for a console. I told people, I say, you want to see real next generation consoles? Remember, I was the first person to say that you have to be going out here spending $1,000. But what did most of you guys say? Well, if I gotta do that, I might as well go to PC. Well, there's your answer. This is why I tried to tell you guys that PC is the future of gaming. Consoles ain't in anymore, man. Just because these consoles are still around and they suckering you guys off some subscription fees, that's it. You guys are the last great hustle, bro. It's about time you people admit that you have finally lost the war that you guys say allegedly keep fighting for.
2024, and nobody in TV says, "Oh, we have to move on from 2009 TVs." Am I right? You see, so it's a different conversation. Don't use movies or music for this, right? Because I could get an old
Yeah,
CD
just like I can play most PlayStation exclusives on an old PS4 from 2013. Yeah, good argument there, Puerto Rock.
player, right? Right? Burn the music on a CD, play that song. I could play a new song today on an old CD player, right? So no one says move on from technology, but we're doing gaming. So if you ever said move on from cross-gen, you agree that is a completely different landscape because you have to cater to the hardware and stuff like that.
Well,
right?
clearly they've been catering more to the casuals because that's why we haven't moved past the PS4. It's the PS4 is the reason as to why we're still getting cross-generation games. Microsoft has completely abandoned the Xbox One brand. Have you guys noticed that? Microsoft doesn't really support the Xbox One brand like you guys think. As soon as the series came out, they put all full efforts in between the Series S and X. Even to the point where they even shafted people that picked up the One X, which did happen to be a very powerful mid-gen refresh. But Microsoft said that we don't care. We're going to move forward towards the Series X and S.
So he didn't really address the point. He just deferred and deflected to a whole new medium.
I mean, and you're doing the same thing.
And Mando didn't really understand what he was talking about. Again, TVs from 2005 can watch programming today.
Yeah, and games from, and the PlayStation 5 games that are running on that platform could also run on the PS4 to this day. That's why they're remasters and remakes.
Because it's just a different landscape, right? Let's see another reply. And you can see a lot of people don't get it. If PlayStation made for PC but continues to make consoles, you can choose your consoles on looks, features, and powers. I just replied I wouldn't choose a console anymore because...
Wow, so you just admitted that you wouldn't buy a PlayStation if Sony started putting all their games on PC. See, then you have to ask yourself, man, is this about being superior or is this about just playing games at this point? You heard it. I see the tweet right here. I wouldn't choose their consoles anymore. Would be pointless. Are you really that? I mean, seriously? I mean, yes, I could continue to play games on PC if I wanted to, but I play Xbox because it's convenient. What happened to the days when console gamers said, oh, consoles are convenient. I don't want to sit there and mess with all these motherboards. I mean, you guys don't even use that argument anymore. You guys have gone to the point where PC gamers have completely destroyed y'all minds to the point where you can't even enjoy video games anymore. Like, that is sad, bro. You console gamers are destroyed. Y'all in shambles. These PC gamers be trying to do the same thing, and you know what I tell them? It don't even matter. The games that you guys still suck. Doesn't it matter? Really? I mean, most modern gaming is garbage anyway.
Pointless. But I'm going to explain. You kind of see my explanation being passed there, right? You as a consumer aren't affected if a game is multiplayer. The only reason you think that is because you have more exclusive bragging rights. So this is the people who love to use ad hominem and just whatever. Again, he didn't address the point. There is an effect. And
what effect is that? Because that effect apparently didn't help Concord do well. That effect apparently didn't help Foam Stars, Rise of Ronin, Stellar Blade, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Destruction All-Stars, Final Fantasy 16 even. What did exclusives help benefit these games? Tell me, explain to me. Because you want to sit there and talk about, well, if Sony go multi-plat like that, then they disvalue the platform for you because you're a fanboy. Does anybody, like the guy had a Red Dead Redemption 2 picture? Does Red Dead Redemption 2 disvalue the experience that you have playing it on your PS4 or your 5 just because it's on Xbox? I think most gamers would say no. Because as long as the game is playable, I don't think people honestly care where the games go. Most people pick up platforms because their friends are playing on it. I'm playing on PS5 more because my friends play more on PS5 as of recently. I haven't even been on Xbox. So there you go. You just answered your own question there, buddy.
Yeah, it's actually here, but I'm gonna explain to you guys anyway. This guy, the buff nerd. No, it's not. You just don't like the other people can play the same games that you can, in turn giving you no bragging rights on this app. But who gives a
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
damn? Are you kidding me? It ain't about that. It's actually.
Oh yeah, really, it ain't about that. Same dude talking about how he won Xbox games on his platform. It ain't about that. The same dude saying that PC gamers would never get it. Let's go back in his old videos, man, and you will sit there and see that he will say God of War would never come to PC. These are words that came out of your mouth, bruh. Telling people that Xbox and PC gamers are only jealous because they can't play our games. These are the words that you said 6 to 7 years ago when you built your own channel.
Facts. But I'll say wrong. If it's a disadvantage of the console, then it just proves that the console doesn't have a valid reason to exist unless it's maliciously holding games hostage just to keep relevance. Also, it's a pro for consumers to be able to get everything on all platforms. So all he's doing is just talking shit. What he's trying to do is he's trying to flip the conversation to see if I could defend the existence of the console and not address the point. All he did was, well, if that's the case, consoles suck. Okay, fine, consoles suck. Well, now what? Well, now what, Corey? My argument wasn't the point about the existence of
if consoles suck, that also means PC sucks too because PC's getting these trash games on their own platform. So this is why I don't understand. This is why you guys completely have sucked the fun out of gaming. This is why gaming is trash, bro. Like, this is why when you people get mad, oh, games, so you shouldn't talk about these games. I don't care. I'm happy playing my retro games. The only reason why you upset at me because I'm having fun playing my classic games and y'all still fighting over this console war garbage. That's all it is, bro, because I don't care about the Series X and I don't care about the garbage PS5, bro. I don't care, bro. I'm having fun playing my little Dreamcast, living in my lane. Oh, when the console get, I don't care. What are you gonna do about that? Ain't none of you people gonna say anything to ruin my enjoyment of the fun that I have in regards to playing my retro games. Oh, retro games is trash. Oh yeah, they so trash. I've had people tell me this. They're so bad. Oh yeah, guys, retro games are so bad. That's why they're remastering and bringing back franchises that we once grew up in. Like you ponies, you fanboys have no argument. You guys want to sit there and talk about how this new generation of gaming is good, and you guys have less games to play than even when you had the PS4, bro. The proof is already right there in front of your faces. Gaming is over. Y'all like, well, no, it's not. Yeah, we get it. It's not over for the new existing audience, but it's over for the core gamer that has been gaming for the past 20 to 30 years. That is facts, bro. Y'all know it, bro. Y'all are not the target audience no more. So stop acting like you are. That's all I'm saying.
Console. I just made a point that if a game's a day one multiplat, it is a disadvantage of a console.
And then you guys say, well, indie games, they still care about us because indie games have no other option but to care about you because the casuals don't buy those garbage. I'm not saying it like that, but they don't buy those garbage indie games either. They're playing a Fortnite. They're playing the GTA. They're the ones running the gaming industry. Y'all ain't running nothing but your mouths. That's all y'all doing. Y'all got more tweets than achievements and trophies on your PlayStation Network accounts. Y'all ain't playing no games, man. We know this, bro. Y'all want to sit there and cap and that's why you guys have these arguments. If gaming was so good, then why aren't we talking about the hype games that we got coming out? At this point, I'm only looking forward towards Gear Z Day, man, and I just hope I don't get disappointed with that. That's all I'm gonna say.
So now, if you feel, well, then, if that's the case, then consoles just suck, then consoles suck. Why not, Corey?
Yo, wait, I gotta rewind that. Hold on, bro. That was too funny.
For games that day one multiplat, it is a disadvantage of a console. Now, if you feel, well, then, if that's the case, then consoles just suck, then consoles suck. Why now, Corey? What now? Consoles suck, then fine. What now?
I gotta rewind that. It's too.
You feel, well, then, if that's the case, then consoles just suck, then consoles suck. What now, Corey? What now? Console suck then. Fine. What now? What's your new argument?
I'm sorry, bro. I just gotta keep rewinding it, man. That is too funny.
If that's the case, then consoles just suck. Then consoles suck. What now, Corey? What now? Consoles suck then. Fine. What now? What's your new argument? See? So,
oh man, I
not a good
swear,
argument
bro.
in this
Y'all gonna be rewinding that, man. You know a dude's gonna leave a timestamp for that one, man. You know, this man really said the console just suck. What now, Corey?
All right. Another one. No, it's not. It doesn't disadvantage you in any way, shape, or form. All it does is mean more people can play.
Oh,
Again,
man.
someone that still doesn't.
If anybody's at a disadvantage, is the company's not making money on these games. Let's talk about that disadvantage. Now, if companies were more than enough capable of making enough money off their own hardware, which I'm what I mean by hardware, off the fans that are picking up their hardware, then I don't think companies would be doing that. That's why you don't see Nintendo doing it. But even then, they still kind of, I'm telling you, Nintendo is going to do it, guys. I'm just letting you know. I mean, they're just going to take their sweet time. But I'm saying, you're starting to notice that these companies are expanding on all the philosophies that you guys thought they would never do.
Oh, all right. So multiple people in this thread does not address my point. None. I don't think they're even capable of even understanding.
I mean, GTA 5 being on multiple platforms, people don't care. Red Dead Redemption 2, Call of Duty, that's still not stopping people from playing and picking these games up on the platforms that people own. I think the only problem is the fact that people ain't picking up a PS5 to play exclusives. But I will say people pick up an Xbox to have Game Pass Ultimate. That is something Microsoft wants you to do. Maybe people are right. Maybe Xbox gamers don't buy games, but now they don't have to. Microsoft has resolved a problem that's probably been going on within their company during the Xbox One. Now Sony has to fix this problem because people are not buying your games. Maybe Sony needs to do what Microsoft's doing. But I really don't think people care about PlayStation games. And I think that is what's going to single-handedly destroy Sony. This is why I tried to tell you, ponies, start putting respect on your games and stop putting respect on Xbox games, because all you're doing for the inevitable future is giving them hype to live forever while Sony's games go under, which we clearly can see is happening.
The smart ones, though, they actually said, can you explain what you mean? Everyone in the thread that did that, you guys are the smart one. Because instead of jumping up, throwing useless points, and just saying stuff without actually understanding the point I was trying to say, you guys actually are really like, okay, let me see your perspective. Explain. Now I'm going to explain live on here.
All right, let's hear it.
Xbox, PlayStation, doesn't matter, right? They're going to make a game for all platforms. That way they have the highest possibility of sales. Get the most amount.
Just like PlayStation will have a higher probability of sales if they put their games on more platforms too. That explains as to why Sony's been putting their games on PC.
The gamers access and stuff like that. I understand that point. That point is not hard. But the point you have to understand is CD Projekt can do that because they're not interested in any particular device. The success of the device is none of their business. Sure, they would love to see PlayStation obviously be successful. They would love to see Xbox be absolutely successful, and of course, they would love to see more people on PC gaming.
I really don't think if Microsoft, I really don't think CD Projekt Red is looking at, we care about X. That's their problem. I think all they're worrying about is selling their game. I really don't think these companies care about how Xbox and PlayStation are doing. They don't, because all they're thinking about is pushing their game. That's it. They don't care if freaking PlayStation 5 dies tomorrow. As long as it stays around until they can sell their little Witcher 4, then they're more than happy. They don't care, bro. You think Witcher really cares about how Sony's doing? That's something that Microsoft and Sony have to attend to.
They would love that because that's just more foundation for them to be successful. But the fact that Xbox, let's say, is not doing too on a console, you think they're having a heart attack over that? No, not really. It is what it is. If PlayStation's beating the bricks out of Xbox,
I really don't understand, bro. I mean, if you guys want to be a fanboy, then be a Nintendo fanboy, because they're the only company that really still has exclusives. The lack of hardware, but I mean, at least their audience picks up their hardware for their games, though. You know what I'm saying? Animal Crossing out here outselling PlayStation 5s, and no scalpers included. So what are we doing here, people? If anybody's destroying anybody in the concept of a fanboy, would be a Nintendo fan. not a PlayStation fan, because you're not buying games.
CD Projekt Red doesn't really have a dog in this fight unless Xbox gets to the point where it's absolutely useless. That's the only worst case scenario. But for the most part, they're making a game for every platform. Because they're making a game for every platform, look at the things they have to do. Number one, they're going to have a budget and a
That's
time.
not true, because they're not making it for Nintendo Switch. I mean, this is the argument you could have used for the hardware. You know how he said, oh, they have to make it for Pacific hardware? Then how come you didn't bring up the Nintendo Switch? This would have been the best example for you to use in regards to that, whatever that dude's name was, Armando, that he was arguing with your own people, man. I thought, they stick together, Holmes. And you out here fighting with your own people on Twitter.
Of when this game needs to be released. They're not going to give Witcher 10 years to accommodate every platform to make sure it is absolutely perfect on every device. No. They're going to make the game within the 5-year parameters that they have to. Within that 5-year parameter, let's start with PC. May not, for the base PS5, dabble in to the extra performance modes that PlayStation 5 can do. You know, the high frame rate and VRR modes that when combined, you could get lock 40% in VRR.
You mean the PS5 Pro that's barely running games better than the PS5? I mean, listen, man. There's really nothing that needs to be explained. You still haven't proved the fact that a game being multi-plat is what is destroying console gaming, besides, like what the guy said, my exclusives. That is it, bro. All the games that people are playing are mostly available everywhere, and yet people still playing them on Xbox, people still playing them on PlayStation, people still playing them on PC. So you haven't proved one point as to where multi-platform is single-handedly destroying video gaming. If anything is destroying video gaming, is exclusives. That's why games like Rebirth, you know, the whole list of games, that's why they're failing. And now even Lego Horizons, to the point where Sony's planning on dropping that on Xbox. So clearly, nobody cares about the in-house games of Sony. I can't even say Xbox because people do play Diablo, people do play Call of Duty. There is an audience for Gears, Sea of Thieves. There's definitely an audience, as much as they may be niche in some regards in comparison to other games, but there's still a remote audience where Microsoft can still garner money from these particular games. Sony cannot say the same thing. All Sony's doing is crapshoots. $400 million in this game and hopefully it sells. That's what they're doing. You want to sit there and say Microsoft is gambling, but Sony's the one really gambling on these projects. They put $800 million on Concord just for the game to fail. Because it was actually $800 million. It wasn't even $400 million, guys. I looked it up. It's embarrassing, man. You know, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, man. Like I said, man, gaming is in trouble, but the only ones that it's really in trouble for is for PlayStation. Xbox is all good. They're the only company that can actually go out here and provide their audience with AAA games without really taking significant losses. Unlike Sony, on the other hand, you guys can't afford no bad controversy or negativity towards that new Intergalactic game, because that is right there not a good sign. Naughty Dog had to literally disable their own comments. And to be honest with you, this whole go woke, go broke stuff, it's kind of working. So hopefully you ponies are going to go out there and support your games like you're supposed to. But instead, we already know what you're going to do. You're going to look forward to picking up Xbox games instead. And that's where Sony is going to be dead. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, man, these dudes clearly can't see the big picture in front of them. But hey, it is what it is. Just remember, continue to pick up those Xbox games on your platform. And I can guarantee you there will be no PlayStation. Take care.